Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society is excited to launch an innovative podcast titled Inspiring Community. The Society is very aware of the diverse, multifaceted elements of our community that come together to support children, youth, and families as they celebrate success and rise to overcome significant financial, social, and mental health challenges. Hosts Mike Clark, Manager of Public Relations and Fund Development, and Tina Allen, Manager of Community Outreach, will be reaching out to many of the Society's community partners and resource organizations to provide insight and helpful suggestions to help overcome these obstacles. The goal will be to provide a practical toolkit for listeners on topics such as managing parenting issues, financial strain, self-care, strengthening relationships, and so much more. The hope is that by talking with community experts, listeners feel more connected within a community of support. Join us as we look at new ways to reach for a better tomorrow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inspiring Community, a podcast of the Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society. Today, we are pleased to have with us Olivia Brezeneau, Chief Executive Officer, and Terry Johnson, President of the Board of Directors of the Windsor Women Working with Immigrant Women, otherwise known as W5. Welcome, Olivia and Terry. And maybe, Olivia, we'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization?
For sure, Mike. Thank you very much for the opportunity. For me, it is about passion. With the living experience as an immigrant, I understand the newcomers and the immigrants' challenges and barriers for their settlement and integration to our Canadian society. Meanwhile, I see the opportunities and the potentials in the future. Working a non-for-profit organization to support newcomers, women, and job seekers to see the successful outcome of life-changing and building organizations' capacity to be able to serve more women and newcomers is extremely rewarding.
Thank
Wonderful.
you, Olivia. And that's very commendable. Terry, you're no stranger to the Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society as our former Chief Operating Officer, but in your journey that you've carried on with, you've discovered W5, have been a big part of what they're doing.
I hope so.
And maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you there.
As you mentioned, I'm the president of the board of directors, and I bring 37 years of experience from the child welfare sector. Why is that important? I was looking for opportunities to continue to serve our community when I retired. Clearly, I was looking for something to do, and that happened during COVID. W5's mission resonates with me as it provides women-centered support to newcomers and their families. With my child welfare background, I know that there's an overrepresentation of marginalized people who are in service in the CAS. So I feel providing support at the onset mitigates some of the factors that may prompt a referral to CAS. So my role now is assisting the board of directors, and we're shooting for excellence in board work and service delivery.
That's great. Now, W5 had its beginnings in 1981. So that's quite a while ago, and there have been a lot of changes in society and all around us since that time. So can you let us know how the organization has evolved and what the mandate is today?
Of course, 43 years ago, W5 only had one part-time employee and a group of ambitious board directors. Now we are 70-plus employees strong with an active board.
Wow.
From women and families only, language training, settlement counseling. That was 43 years ago, so only services, and now we offer English language classes, mental wellness support, crisis counseling, connecting people to local communities. Also, for women, we have employment skills training, life skills training, gender-based violence prevention, women knitting circles, employment and skills training services for unemployed and underemployed individuals, youth art project, homework support, seniors activities, and more. So there are totally 22 programs and projects we offer at W5. In addition, to ensure our women and newcomer clients can fully access our services, we offer childcare services when our clients are attending the classes and counseling sessions.
Wow. You just mentioned a number of different programs that W5 provides. And I just want to back up a bit because, and Terry, you already alluded to this around, being involved with marginalized individuals and really newcomers to Canada are very marginalized and you are addressing barriers. So coincidentally, your tagline is breaking barriers. So can you talk a little bit more about how W5 really, what are those barriers and a little bit more about how you're trying to break those barriers or address those barriers?
Absolutely. W5's board directors, management team, staff, and volunteers have always valued our clients' needs and the community's demands. After 43 years, our team still kept developing grassroots services. So we are committed to support immigrants and refugee women and their families to face their challenges, breaking variety of barriers such as in settlement, the culture changing, how to engage in their daily life in the Canadian society, and also more importantly, become participating members of the Canadian society.
Mm-hmm. And just the language barrier alone must be really challenging for newcomers to Canada.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Actually, I always use this example. Imagine tomorrow you are flying overseas to another country and you don't speak their language. Mm-hmm. Within a very short time, you have to be able to not only find a job, bring food to your family, but also become participating members of that country. Mm-hmm. So what's the challenges you're gonna face? And the pressure is right on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Olivia's also helped me to note little things that we take for granted. So she'll tell me, well, kids get sent home a note from school. You're going to have a pizza lunch. Well, what does that mean to us?
Right.
We know what that means. It means money, and it means filling out a form and a permission slip. That's totally not something that's going to be comprehended by somebody that's new to the community, let alone whether they can afford it.
Right. And what is pizza, right? I mean,
that's another point. Yes.
We love pizza, but not everyone knows what that even means.
Exactly. So Olivia's really helped me, being a white Canadian, has really helped me to see how these little things that we take for granted, if you are a Canadian, and that it's so important for us who are supporting newcomers and marginalized groups that we understand what the differences might be, respect them, take the opportunity to provide detailed information about pizza lunches.
Right.
That all makes sense.
As we all know, common sense is not common.
Right. Yes.
So,
and that's such a small nuance of many complicating things that newcomers have to face. So on that, we know that you've just adopted a new strategic plan in 2023 that is to guide you through 2028. Correct. And I happened to look at it and see that it's 2 pages. And I thought, wow, what strategic plan with all of what you're doing could possibly boil down to 2 pages? So very impressive. But what inroads have you already made? And can you share some highlights of this plan?
Well, we'll be sure to give you the full document because the 2-pager is for consumption on the website, but it's much larger than that. So several focuses of the strategic plan were client support, building on relationships with other organizations in the community, and financial stability. We want to identify gaps in services that are not funded already by the government, and Olivia tells me about these things. But then how are we going to fund them? So it's great to have these ideas, but if the government doesn't fund it, and yet we know there's a need, where can W5 come in? W5 receives government funding, but there are limitations. For instance, if we have a successful cooking and life skills program for teens, but the youth lack appropriate cookware or a limited ability to purchase the ingredients is a barrier. So on one hand, we might talk about the success, but we also know there isn't that funding for those extras that we know that would enhance it and bring it to a next level. We want to collaborate, I will practice that word further, with education, health, other social services, and private businesses to determine where services can be enhanced. I always talk about that I worked in this field and in this community for so long. I knew about W5, but I really didn't know what they did specifically. And certainly Olivia tells me that if you're in need of services and you're a newcomer, you know it. It's the rest of us who don't necessarily know it and maybe can't make or not knowledgeable enough to make referrals, or that we need to step it up and support individuals. Finally, we want to raise the profile of W5 and the services for women. Like I said, Olivia tells me it's us that don't know. So if you're not aware, there is still a role for everyone. Newcomers thrive when, respectively, they're supported, when the community is equitable and there's just and it's anti-oppressive. Along with this, we need some financial support from donors. We're no different than any other nonprofit. The needs are great, such as food, hygiene products, funds to enhance existing programs, and capital projects such as a nice teaching kitchen that is here at the Building of Children's Aid and open to the community, I'm told.
That's great.
Yeah. So, Olivia, you listed, I believe, 22 programs that W5 does, and Terry just touched on the strategic plan. But if we were really getting down to basics, what would you say are the core services of W5?
Yeah, the core services, one is supporting women for their independence and building gender violence-free environment. And another part is the assisting immigrant and refugee women and their families for their settlement and integration. The third one is employment services. We help unemployed and underemployed individuals with employment preparation, career exploration, job search, skill training, placement. But overall, W5 really serve from infants to seniors.
I'd like to add to that, because what I found so attractive to W5 when you say women supported is that you can't take care of the women if you don't take care of some of the other things that are challenges. You know, the school calling about not a proper lunch, or school calling about late for school, or you have to run out to work and you don't have a good support system to provide childcare. So they're really trying to, provide those services from 0 to senior age, so that you're helping them with them, you're providing the support to women.
And addressing those barriers. And I think that's been a theme with our other podcast guests and talking about what they're providing, that we're not just looking at one particular program, we're looking at what and who needs to be supported in order for that person accessing that program, whether it's a child or it's a caregiver. What wraparound supports need to ensure the success of whatever service that they're receiving. So that's great.
So having said that, Terry had mentioned that newcomers know how to go about it and how to come to W5. But if a newcomer just didn't know that, how would a newcomer reach out to W5, and what is the process to receive your services?
Well, pick up the phone. We are only a call away. So our phone number is 519-915-5588. I repeat, 519-915-5588. Or you can visit our office. We are located at 1368 Olyta Avenue. It's near downtown, just south of the hospital. But meanwhile, we have a tricky website, found us online. So as our organization's official name is Windsor Women Working with Immigrant Women. We have a totally 5 W's on our website. It's 4wiw.org. www.iw.org.
And we'll make sure to have that contact information in our episode notes for sure.
And with all that information, is there any specific criteria that people need to meet in order to access your services?
That's a very tricky question because as 22 programs have different founders. The founders have those very specific eligibility requirement. For our newcomer settlement services, language classes, mental wellness, newcomer youth projects, people need to be the immigrants and refugees before they obtain their Canadian citizenship. Women program is easy. As long as it's a female, you can access all of our women programs, women skills training, gender-based violence training, the women-only computer classes, women-only knitting club, crochet club. Employment program were funded by the city of Windsor and the provincial government. So that program is to serve people who are eligible to work in Canada, but has to be underemployed or unemployed.
You've talked a lot about the services and supports that are provided through W5. Can we talk a little bit more about the skills training and employment services? Obviously, that's a very hot topic in our community, is underemployment, trying to get individuals in our community the training and support that they need to fill many gaps in our community with respect to jobs. And then the other piece with New Canadians is they bring so much of their own education, their credentials that we don't necessarily recognize here. So this seems to be a really, really important service that you would provide. Can you talk more about the employment skills and training programs?
Well, from transferable skills assessment, resume writing, interview practice, career exploration, there are many job titles don't exist in their home country. And then until skills training, prepare the government-funded skill training program applications, such as the application to access Better Jobs Ontario, which is previously called the Second Career Program, and also the federal provincial collaborative funded Canada Ontario Job Grant. So we actually have a very wide range of employment and skills training programs, and we can meet their needs. I think the best way, including earlier Mike asked about the eligibility to access those programs, the best way is come to us, because the programs always change. Founders changes. We add new programs or some small project stop the funding. It's very hard for public general to remember all of our 22 programs, eligibility, and also, what include, was it not include. On another note, W5 always looking at the opportunities to create initiatives and build those grassroots programs. So come to us. We have intake staff to do a background assessment, and then we can recommend multiple services to each individual.
Wow.
I think it's worthwhile mentioning, too, that it's not just for women, that your employment program, I think about 30% of the employment program are men.
That's correct.
And I think the title, certainly for me, being in the unknown and coming, is that we also have to get that information out there, that if you have underemployed or the words that you use for employment, that it's also a service for men, let alone your teens and our males as well. But
Right, and like our English classes, we don't want to separate the husband and wife. So if both of you are, have these needs, our classrooms doors are open. Yeah, a lot of our services are for the families. But of course, as a women organization, we have a specific women-only programs as well.
And what are your programs for seniors?
Seniors, actually, right time to ask me this question because we are in the transition.
Okay.
We have senior activities. So the senior programs not only have some physical education, encourage them to get body move, but also we have mental wellness support, and also we help them to engage with the community, such as bring them for the bowling, bring them for, different field trips, lead them not only isolated, not only break the isolation, but also truly enjoy this community and being part of this community.
And not feeling isolated.
Yeah.
And you talk about the mental health program. We didn't get very much in depth in that, but I was surprised to see that because I've always associated W5 with language skills and with employment and working in workforce related training. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that you do offer to all populations you serve those mental health supports.
Mental health support currently is more focused on the newcomers and the women clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, the founders change, the programs are changing. There are a lot of changes there. So again, anyone may have any needs, come to visit us, visit our website, give us a call, ask questions. We would love to do an intake assessment and to see how can we better serve everyone.
And I'm going to tell you, Olivia is a master at moving funds and meeting expectations in the proper way, but in the sense of trying to meet everybody's needs.
Absolutely.
But not every agency can be everything to everybody, but she's very good in that way.
Yeah, and not one program. It's not a one-size-fits-all. So you have to be flexible to the needs of the people that you see.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of those government grants are not consistent. But
Yes.
we don't want that impact to our customer service. It's not like yesterday you still have needs, we can serve you, and tomorrow, oops, funding ends.
Right.
So we're trying to encourage all of our funders look at the big picture. When we have a specific funding for certain programs, it's at the time that we develop the program and then we grow the service. But when this funding ends, other program, other funders probably can easily just take on what we already built and then just carry on the services. That way, the clients from our community do not feel like the off the cliff.
Right.
Right.
It's very much, and I know that for a fact, like a large puzzle, but you're keeping all the pieces together all the time. So a lot of juggling, but all for the right purposes. Now, you had touched on this earlier, both of you did, but when you meet newcomers, it's a time, I'm sure, of anxiety, uncertainty, being in a new place with new people, a different language, different culture, that type of thing. But particularly when you're working with women from different cultural backgrounds in different parts of the world. So how do you assure that you uphold the role of woman, particularly as they adjust to a new lifestyle in Canada?
So W5 endeavors to provide a wraparound service. Some of the items that you were speaking about: mental health counseling, education, skills development, health information, a support system that's a safety net for women, and their families. The role of a woman, aside from children, is very crucial, and we were talking about that earlier. They're the organizer. They're the caretaker of children. They're the caretakers of other family members, the elderly, the kin from other families. Home maintenance generally falls to the woman, working outside the home while doing all of those things. And often a single parent, particularly as I know in this community from my child welfare background. So the goal is to improve the social determinants of health for those who face those barriers. So it's taking those barriers one-on-one, doing the assessment, seeing what the needs are, and trying to come up with a plan to address those things. So it's very important for us, and that's why I really like this organization. It's not about just supporting women. It's supporting the whole family, just as I always saw in Children's Aid, that it was about, we can protect kids, but if we don't work with the families,
Exactly.
you're only dealing with one part of the system.
So you've been around since 1981. So you wouldn't have been here if you didn't have some success stories and some great outcomes from what comes out of your organization. And having worked with you briefly myself, I know some of the great work that you do. But would either one of you be able to share with us a success story that's probably come out of W5? Olivia?
Yes. Well, what I'm really proud of W5 is that every year W5 has served more than 5,000 community members, including newcomers, immigrant, women, youth, seniors, job seekers, and the general public. So through W5's employment services, as one of the examples, 70% of our job seekers found employment, and 17% attended continuous education or skill upgrades. That's just the number I'm pulling out from last year. So for many newcomers' families, even just one family member found a job, it's a life changer for the entire family. So for that, I think we are touching local residents' lives every single day.
Well, I guess the big question we want to ask is, how can the community support W5 in helping you to achieve your goals?
So from my perspective, and again, white Canadian, educate yourself. Understand what the needs are of newcomers. There are a lot of biases. There are a lot of wrong impressions about what's going on. You may still have your opinion. Educate yourself. Read about what the needs are for newcomers. Check out our website. Check out our social media. Follow us. Like us. Share. I was taught that by a mentor at Children's Aid. Consider making a donation to the organization or attend any one of the events that we hope to host moving forward. A small amount of money can actually put one teen through the life skills program, providing food to individuals. We want to talk about some programs that are going to enhance women's confidence and empower them. Because how we present to the community is very important to women. So hygiene and minor beauty products and things, all that's going to make help to integrate in our society, not change them, but make them feel good when they're out there. And if you have any ideas on how you may be able to collaborate, third-party fundraisers, collaborate on programs, have Olivia come out and have a talk with respect to what's going on, give Olivia a call. Any support is welcome. We'll sit down on the table and talk to anybody who might have ideas about supporting us.
Great.
Totally agreed. So I pretty much want to repeat those information. One is increasing awareness and spread the word. Learn about our services. Check out our website. Ask questions. More you know about our services, more word by mouth referrals you will make, and more people will benefit from our services. Second thing is partnership and investment in W5. As a non-for-profit organization, we welcome partnership in grassroots program development. We want to embrace new ideas, and we are very flexible to work on the new service delivery module to meet the community's needs. Also, invest in W5, recognize our legacy, trust our capacity, and fund us to achieve the goals that benefit Windsor-Essex County. Last but not least, collaboration and support. Although W5 has 22 programs and we offer wide range of services, we do not think it can be a one-stop shop. To support women newcomers and job seekers, it will take the whole village's effort. So please work with us. W5 opens our arms to welcome all community agencies to build a collaboration relationship with us. And together, we build a welcoming community, a place that newcomers and local residents call home.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you, Olivia.
A wonderful way to end this podcast. Want to thank you both for sharing so much about W5 and the difference your organization is making in the lives of so many. And this has been Inspiring Community Podcast, and thank you all for joining us.